Hey guys, it's Bailey Wiki, and I got something fun to show you guys today. Let's see, so this is part of the latest release. It's January 6th, 2025. Happy New Year. We're looking at one of the campsites from that release, and let's turn the lights down. And let's say our adventuring party shows up in this camp, and we can see there's other camps already set up, maybe some competing adventuring parties, I don't know. You've got kind of a center kind of gathering area, and maybe they've been told they can create a campsite over here. Well, what if they did that and they had this fun little macro, said campsite stuff, and when they open it, they get what's called a bag of things that they have the ability to use, right? And so there's like tents in here. So maybe they drag out a tent and put it here. And maybe one of them has this tent. That's their favorite tent. And maybe they've got some torches to put out. So let's add a couple torches. Of course, they're going to need a campfire, and maybe they've got a wagon in this particular adventure. So maybe they can set up a wagon here. And I don't know, maybe they got other stuff, maybe some seating, right? So something to sit on when they're sitting by the campfire. And maybe some sleeping bags. Maybe one of them really loves to sleep outside, so we'll throw a sleeping bag down. Well, what the heck? Oh, you know what? Let's put a picnic blanket out too. Somebody, maybe there's some romance in our party. We'll set out a picnic blanket. So what the heck's going on here? Why would a player get access to all this stuff? What's even happening? Well, what you're looking at is a bag. And bags are new functionality with Mass Edit. So if I open up Mass Edit, there's some other changes to Mass Edit that I'll let you read up on later, but what we're going to focus on today is bags. This replaces the favorites tab, which used to be a star. And what bags are things that you can put stuff in that you want to use more often. And you can have bags that are just like static that you as the GM just like put things in, like all the camping stuff that you just saw. You can also have bags that are automatic, what I've named an auto bag. You can name them whatever you want. But those bags can include other things. So like, let me show you this one, for example. This is kitchen clutter. You can see I've got all these brushes of food and things. So I can like grab all these things, add them to a brush, and if I'm decorating a table, I can put all these food items around the table. Maybe I want to just have some fruit here. Uh, Whoops, let me get rid of my drop shadow. Let's give it a little small drop shadow though. There we go. And maybe I've got some food items that I want to lay out for my players to have, or I just want to set a table. So it's automatically though looking for these items. And then you can see there's a lot of things I can decorate. And these are just like clutter stuff that you don't want to have to go find. But watch this. So let me show you. This is looking for a bunch of keywords and excluding a bunch of keywords. But if I turn on virtual directory, all of a sudden there's a lot more items in here. It's not just Bailiwiki stuff, right? Here's a bunch of pots and things and runners, but it's also a bunch of Tom Kartos stuff because I have Tom Kartos assets in here. So I can see all of his plates and forks and knives and things that I might want to clutter. I can see all of his food items and my food items. And that gives me access to everything inside of this bag that's just always around if I need it. Also, like let's say I'm decorating for, this scene here. This is a desert scene. I've got all of my desert items in here, right? I've got a bunch of cacti. Let's grab those, add them to a brush, and we can start putting cacti around my scene, right? Isn't that interesting? So really, kind of the sky's the limit. These are brushes, and you can add things to them, and you can have as many as you want, and you can have them automatically contain the stuff that you want to use on a regular basis. Maybe you want to give your players the ability to build a town, right? So I could build a bag that includes, things like certain homes and buildings or huts or stuff that I think the users or my players have maybe invested in. Now they can place them around a map. So let's talk about how this works. This is going to be relatively simple and fast today. First of all, bags are pretty simple. You go to create a new one here, and you create them in whatever module that you're currently in. So remember, you can switch your modules here. You're probably going to be on your main. That's probably where you guys are going to want to hang out most often. Let's build a new bag. So it starts with creating a new bag. If we right click it, we can open that bag. We see we have some options. We can immediately start dragging things into it, right? So you can just start dragging my boulders and other stuff into my bag. If I've made some changes to my assets, I can refresh it here and it will re-index and look for things. This is where I can make that macro. So everything, do I want to make this bag a macro? If so, then yeah, then I'll be able to launch it from my macro bar. And once you do make it a macro, you can then give your permissions for that macro to your players, right? So if I go into my campsite, right click it, configure ownership, you can see that all players are owners, right? So they all have access to this and they can put it in their hotbars and they can launch their campsite whenever they want to. So where else would you use that? Well, I've got this one here. I've got magic spawns, right? So my players can open this up now and they can drop this uh, instant fortress into a scene, right? So this is a 2-level fortress, and my players can walk into this fortress and use it just like they spawned it, uh, like anything else. They also have a teleporter. So if I want to give my players access to a teleporter, I can make multiple of these with different destinations, right? They can walk into this, it's mat enabled, they can teleport places. Here's the mansion door, right? So this is a special door where my players can drop it in and it doesn't work unless they open the door. They can see the lights spilling out from the mansion, and now when they approach it, it will immediately teleport them to the mansion, right? And so now they're in the foyer of their magic mansion, right? So these are things that you can do now where you can give players access to these spawnable items that they can put directly into their scenes. All right, so to continue on the bag, if we go into, rather than, let's go into open the bag, and then there you have this cogwheel here. And this is where you can make it automatically include things. So you can either manually drag things over, or you can say, look, I want it to include anything that matches the term building, right? And I want to add, something else. And what this is doing is just running a search like you would search here, right? So if I just look for building, to get all the things that are buildings. If I want to force a tag search, I just add the hashtag to it and everything with the tag search building comes up, right? So maybe I want to add that. So any search that I would run, and I can run multiple searches, will include everything in this. And maybe I want to exclude certain terms, and maybe I want to exclude the virtual directory, right? Virtual directory is just tiles and sounds. Everything you've made like prefab shows up um, normally. So here you've got things that are just manually thrown into the bag. You've got all of your search results. So here's all the buildings that I might drop in, right? Maybe I want to add another search result, which is facades. Whoops, we'll add that here. Add another search, facade. And now I've got all of my facade buildings as well. So you can make city building like super easy, right? Here's all my facades for huts, right? Makes it super fast to just drop things in. You can also change the appearance. You can make the header a certain color, and then you can give the background a different color. So maybe I want all my buildings to be in red, and maybe I want the background to be red, but slightly transparent, right? So this can help you just sort of know visually what bag you might be operating in. And you can also go to the edit menu by right-clicking it, and you can give it a new name. You can give it a new thumbnail. So you can see it's just defaulting to the core data. These are Foundry thumbnails. If I back up a couple levels, you can see there's lots of different thumbnails that I can use. And all the way down to like you've got creatures. So you can come in here and if you have dig down involved, you can do searches for things. So you can say like things like Anvil, and it will give you all the potential Anvil pictures that are available to you. Cool, right? And then you can also tag it. So maybe you want to have your bag show up in searches as well, right? So you can make searches for, you know, like maybe you want to just have a tag that's like bag tag. So you can, you know, maybe one is going to be like buildings. So you can actually have these bags be like searchable entities just like anything else. By the time you guys play with this, you may see another option here, which is just to be able to toggle the virtual directory on or off just from this screen. I've just noticed I really like being able to like search tiles or not have the clutter of the tiles here. So I've asked Adif to add that to the screen. You may see that by the time that this comes out. But otherwise, that's it. I mean, bags are free to use just like the rest of Mass Edit. If you have uh, assets from Tom Kartos or anyone else, you can manage them all through MassEdit just by indexing them. So you can see I've added an index to all of my Tom Kartos assets. It was as simple as that. And then once it indexed everything from him, it all shows up in MassEdit in its usually in the tile grouping under the virtual directory, but then I can also search for stuff and add it to bags. So hopefully you guys get some mileage out of this. I absolutely love it. I think it's definitely an upgrade to the old favorites tab. And let me know in the comments if you have suggestions on how we can enhance this system going forward. This has already made my map production a lot easier and smoother, so hopefully it does the same thing for you guys. And yeah, I mean, you can have bags with tokens and NPCs in them, I mean, you name it, sounds that you use a lot. So anyway, hope you guys like it. And until next time, have fun making your maps.